recently launched their brand new camera, the Canon R6 V. The feature list is stacked. During this launch, of course, we got to speak with India head Nomura Toshiaki about the camera, about where the camera market is heading to, and Canon's role in the Indian camera market going forward. We also spoke with two Canon brand ambassadors, veterans in the industry who have been doing what they're doing for a very long time. Famous cinematographer Kiran Deohans and popular wildlife filmmaker Vijay Bedi. It is the interaction. Hope you like it. Mr. Bedi.
Hi.
Pleasure.
Likewise.
Thank you for being here.
Yes.
Hi, Mr. Deohans.
Hi.
Great having you here. We all saw the R6 V, right? Great camera. Bunch of features, open gate, 7K, 4K, 120 FPS, uncrop. I want to ask you something related to the camera, but also something that transcends the camera itself. So what's your take on the fact that today's creators have something like this ready in hand? Like they have the money, go buy the camera, start shooting, start your creator journey. Versus back in the day when people had to actually get in the details, get in the theory, get their hands dirty, understand the concepts, because things were more mechanical.
Yes.
So this disparity, what's your take on that?
So I'll start by saying that the Canon, what has done today is remarkable, which not other brand has done it.
Okay.
The price of this camera is just super amazing for a young people to come into this field. And now the focus has been shifted more towards independent productions. People, especially youngsters, doesn't want to go and rent the camera rather than having their own camera kit.
Okay.
So this camera basically catered that kind of genre, I would say, and those kind of people where independent filmmaking is easier for them, and so they can buy this camera and then spend more time producing the content rather than paying the rent. So I think the price one is amazing. The price slab they put is, I think, just the right, where the creator cannot worry about the price but actually produce the content. And secondly, because this camera is so flexible, being small, rugged, waterproof, and also 7K open gate, which is amazing, because once you start talking about open gate, it's not anymore Super 35 frame. It's a big sensor, you get a lot of headroom, and as soon as you go into vertical format with social media coming up such a big way, you have enough room to play up and down, and also you get more width. And of course, the bigger sensor, you get more light into it. And another key feature which I think was remarkable with this camera is the dynamic range, I think so.
Right.
I don't know if I'm covering your point, but I'm trying to tell you the key points which make this camera unique, and then I can talk more about the content creation. So when you talk about the dynamic range, 15 stop is amazing, which helps the content creator, because most of the time you don't have a proper setups. You're not shooting a feature film.
Right.
You're a content creator. You're shooting in shade, or you are shooting in dark spaces. Sometimes the highlights are clipping. Sometimes there's too much shadows. So you have that leverage in post-production to play with 15 stops to dynamic range, where you can get all the details which is missing during the filming.
Correct.
And I think the last one which I really want to emphasize on, that this camera finally got the stabilizer in, which is huge. Most of the people are using their Steadicam and the stabilizers extra onto the camera. But once you have an inbuilt stabilizer, because I personally also use a lot of inbuilt stabilization, and most of the stuff you're shooting handheld, which is not controlled again. And once you're in that kind of situation, you can really use the power of stabilization within the body, combined with the lens, which makes it a amazing camera in the field, I would say.
According to whatever I heard on the stage being said about the camera, I have not used the camera yet. Okay. But I think, as they said, it's between Cine and Hybrid. There's a camera which fixes there perfectly as position-wise. I'm sure, like I met lots of people here who are wildlife photographers shifting to fiction. Okay. So this is the camera which is going to give them nice filling the gaps to get into fiction, get into cinematography, trying to become a DOP or something, or cameraman. So that way, I think it works like that. But it's amazing the kind of attributes we heard, 10 to 12 of them. I mean, what more do you need? As he went on saying, what more, what more? This is more than enough. Okay. Even if this much, if the cameraman can handle, he'll get a brilliant result. I mean, we earlier have been using Canon, all of us, and what we get from this camera is amazing. Especially the autofocus section of that, which is in this. which they are saying that is going to follow focus man the way we do in features. The focus is gradually followed properly. The curve is S, not straight. So that's a very important feature of this camera.
Okay.
Besides being a full frame, besides being 7K, 4K, all those things I think you are getting in lots of cameras. But these things are a unique thing about this camera, and the ergonomically, the way the size is, the way the grip is beautiful.
Would you say that in certain ways this sort of takes away the grind? I mean, back in the day, I'm sure when you started off, things were much more mechanical. You had to get deep into the concepts, the theory. Now, anyone can buy this camera, whoever can afford it, and can start their creative journey from scratch and have everything at their palms.
Yeah, I very strongly feel with what Canon people say, that we are trying to support the creative part of the community who makes stories, tells stories.
Okay.
So what has happened generally with digital, which the revolution began with 5D, which is Canon again, the democratizing about the equipment and storytelling में जो आया है because of the digital media.
Right.
I think this kind of a camera which is introduced today, it's one more step in that. So anybody who's trying to tell a story, there's a unique equipment, a unique piece of equipment in his hand now. So it's going to help.
Technology just gives a helping hand to the creators, and it's up to them how to use this camera to their full potentials. The camera company can introduce a camera, but as a creator, I think so now they don't need to worry about the technology that much, rather than concentrate too much on their product, the quality of production and story concept, storytelling. So I think so, yes, and it's a game changer, because the people who wants to film like a cinema, rather sticking to 35 millimeter sensor size, now have opportunity to shoot on 7K sensor and getting almost similar quality what they will get for cinema cameras. So it's win-win for content creator, because there's so much competition within the brands, and when you do that, you get a lesser cheaper camera with all the perks in it, which helps the creator to create a beautiful content without worrying about the technology, because the technology is already there for them to produce some good content.
What's your take on AI disrupting the creator sphere and the way we make films, the way we create content? What's your take on that?
See, for wildlife, I'm really, I won't use upset, but I would say disappointed with AI, because once you create so much AI stuff by spending so much time in field, and then it's been taken by AI, it's huge loss for wildlife filmmaking and photography, which I specialize in. But overall, I think so AI is a game changer. Now or then, there would be people coming into this for sure. But I think so, as an Indian, we need to start putting ethics guidelines in as AI, using in filmmaking in different genres more so. It could be, in the cinema or wildlife or documentaries, where they should have some kind of a benchmark where you cannot exceed using AI in certain limits.
Right.
But right now it's taking information from everybody, and if I'm spending in Thar Desert capturing Great Indian Bustard, which is only handful left in the world, and if I'm putting onto my website, so when somebody goes on AI and try to take that picture, it automatically takes my picture and produces a new picture out of it. But initially that picture was taken from my content. So it's for wildlife filmmaking, it's certainly a big challenge. Again, I hope India comes up with the policies, strong policies and guidelines for filmmaking and storytelling to use in an ethical way.
AI, so everybody is asking that question, but see, AI, as long as you shake hand with AI, there's nothing to worry about. And technologies come, you befriend them and move on. I would say just start knowing AI better and use it to your benefit. And we have equipment like Canon, the tools are so available. Even they will have incorporated a lot of AI things like autofocus. So things are moving in. But as a person behind the camera, you got to be updated with what is happening and not just shy away and say, oh, I don't believe in AI. That's the future. Technology you can't back off from. So use it and move on.
Like the Academy came up with their new guidelines that AI videos and footage can't be used in their nominations.
Yes.
Films. that get nominations.
But on the hindsight, there's another film festival encouraging AI films.
Yes.
So I heard a new film festival have a category where they're promoting AI, which is absolutely fine. That's the future. But I was saying when you're talking about AI, and there need to be clear distinction that
Right.
the storytelling should not be hampered, and if you're using AI, they should be classified. Saying that we used AI, and there should be clear disclaimer saying that,
Yep,
and
yep.
like old school days, when if you're doing something, you just mention towards the end, and that's the way it should be.
Right.
So viewers should be having right to choose and decide to watch the content if it is AI or not.
Would you have appreciated a global shutter in this camera, or no?
Personally, I wouldn't mind because I normally don't put these cameras on my. I don't need global shutter.
Okay.
I do more of a wildlife stuff, and when I do with a telephoto lens, for me, image stabilizer much more important.
Right. Okay.
And I think so that's all my purpose, because once you're on a bigger lens, the smallest shake becomes huge, which amplifies, because when you're talking about 1000 millimeter on this kind of a sensor, it amplifies.
Okay.
For personally, global shutter doesn't make much for me, because I'm not really putting the camera on a drones to get that. But if there would be one, yes, it could be much better camera. But just keeping in mind, once you start putting more features like that, the camera become more expensive. And so they have now basically divided. If you want global shutter smoothness and you want to get more hybrid, you better go for the C brand, and this is more of a V,
Right.
where you go to a cheaper and more content creator format
Right.
camera.
Right. There's a very popular saying that goes something like, gear doesn't matter. Although
Here,
here we are
yes,
at an event where we are talking about gear, and not just any gear, but gear that basically offers you everything, right?
yeah.
So, what's your take on that?
So I tell you, we were just talking to one of my colleagues that yes, a professional can make a difference, because a camera like this in the hand of a professional can create wonders. But having said that, I would say that even an amateur can create decent images. I would say beautiful images with a tool like this, because these kind of tools were not available earlier. Now there's so much available on this one camera that it's like a lab. You shoot, you edit, you like LUTs are there, you post produce, and again I'll come back to what I said earlier, that obviously with a professional person having this tool in his hand is magic.
Are you hopeful about the future of filmmaking?
Of course, very much. India is producing a lot of content globally. Global market is producing a lot of film productions across, and I think so. India is growing, and there is so much content creation is happening in every field, whether it's wedding, whether it's fashion, whether it's documentary, there's cinema, where is wildlife per se, which I come from. So India is the market, and I think so. Global leaders now are changing their focus towards India, because they realize they cannot neglect this market anymore. And with more new cameras, more affordable cameras, I think so. The Canon and other brands can come together to bring it together and make sure that more content, more produced. And that's first step. When you make the technology affordable, you going back to the earlier point that filmmakers automatically make good films.
Right.
Yeah. In abroad, it's a huge thing. They have technology availability. Unfortunately, in India, still, cameras are expensive. But now the new change, a new wave is coming with the cheaper cameras, producing the same quality of production which cinema cameras can
Film
give
cameras,
you.
yes.
So you're not sacrificing on the quality, but you're just focused on the storytelling part. And I think the future would be India and some global content.
Mr. Bedi, thank you. You were a rock star. I'll take your word for it. You're the veteran here.
Yes,
Thanks.
thank you so much.
Pleasure chatting.
My pleasure.